We have the first confirmed casting announcement for JK Rowling's Harry Potter series over at HBO Max. It is John Lithgow, confirmed to play Dumbledore. And currently he is 79, so this is kind of going to be how he closes out his acting career, as this is a multiple year-long commitment. He gave a comment saying, "It came as a total surprise to me. I just got the phone call up at the Sundance Film Festival for yet another film, and it was not an easy decision because it's going to define me for the last chapter of my life, I'm afraid. But I'm very excited. Some wonderful people are turning their attention back to Harry Potter. That's why it's been such a hard decision. I'll be about 87 years old at the wrap party, but I've said yes."
I mean, that's assuming that it goes to plan.
Yeah.
And every like that
At
is
this rate?
bold. That is a bold prediction to believe that there's like, look, you can't. Millie Bobby Brown looks 45 and started Stranger Things like a
When she was,
decade
like,
ago.
10.
Like things on streaming, the whole trope on streaming is to say like, I'm sick of this 8 episodes every 3 years. Like they're going to have to be militant in getting this show done because those kids, like they have to hire actors who are just about to start growing.
Yeah.
Like they're working against the clock constantly.
So he's going to be probably wheelchair bound and eating applesauce on the last season of Harry Potter on HBO Max.
Yeah.
No, if all goes according to plan, it should be fine, but he's the only casting announcement they've made so far. The first point of contention being, obviously, the elephant in the room is he is American, and that's something that JK Rowling used to feel very strongly about, is that people who star in any Harry Potter property ought to be British.
These were some examples of some actors whose names I'm not even going to try to pronounce, who were not British. The actress who played Fleur Delacour, the actor who played Igor Karkaroff, the actor, the Dark Wizard in Order of Phoenix, and then I've got, of course, the guy who played Victor Crumb were all, it was French, Serbian, German, and Bulgarian.
But just generally, European would be the precedent. There were no Americans.
From what I understand, Christopher Columbus, who directed the first movie's daughter, had like a non-speaking role. It was a Nepo thing, but not a speaking role, not a major role.
No Americans have had speaking roles before in any Harry Potter.
At least as far as I know. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, some people are upset about that, but most of these responses are mainly upset that John Lithgow decided to work with JK Rowling for obvious reasons.
There is also precedent for him. I believe he was he did a British accent in The Crown and was actually it was spoken of very highly that he was able to nail it. It's a lot more common for for British people to have to do like turn on a TV right now, you're most likely watching a British person putting on an American accent. It used to be unique when a British actor would do an American accent. It's not anymore. Pretty much all of them do.
Who is the one that played Rick Grimes?
Like Millie Bobby Brown, for example.
Who is the actor that played Rick Grimes in
Andrew Lincoln.
I had no clue until years later that he was British. I had no idea.
The actress in Reacher season 3 who's doing the Brooklyn accent is from the UK as well. And I was like, oh, I mean, maybe she grew up in Brooklyn. I don't know, but it's good.
Well, look, I mostly have beef with John Lithgow because he played a role in the movie Conclave about the transsexual Pope. But most of these responses are angry about him working with JK Rowling because she's a transphobe. Here were some of the responses, some of the most unhinged responses. Spending the last few years of your life starring in a TV show remake of the racist Turf Wizard franchise is kind of crazy.
Wait, why is she racist?
I don't know.
She made Hermione black and
the anti-Semitism tropes, I guess.
Oh, the Gringotts goblins.
I have no idea.
Okay.
Congratulations on your new Nazi transphobe titles. Hope the money is worth it, Mr. Lithgow.
See, this is what I'm talking about when I say that Harry Potter transcends. Like, they can claim that it's synonymous with transphobia all they want. They are wrong. The average everyday person just wants to bring their kids to the Universal Park to go see the wizarding stuff, to the WB. They don't give a crap.
Beer.
They don't give a crap.
Defining the last chapter of your life by growing the wealth and influence of one of the world's foremost bigots is not a great statement to be making. I really hope he's just blissfully unaware. There is no way that he is blissfully unaware. I mean, at this point, if you're working with JK Rowling, you're very much up to date and up to speed on her thoughts.
If you're not, your agent isn't doing his job.
No, I mean, he almost certainly knows exactly what he's getting himself into.
And he said, cha-ching.
Maybe he said, cha-ching, like the money is worth it. Or he said, there's kind of a cultural vibe shift happening right now where people are less likely to sympathize with the issues of an extremely small marginal group that in fact has its own problems that need to be addressed. Another person said, homeboy wants to be defined as a piece of shit. F Lithgow for working for a transphobe then. Gonna be honest here, this is an obvious boycott situation, and if you watch this show, legitimately, F you. Any adult who willingly participates in this project should be shunned for the rest of their careers. In Lithgow's case, it's not like he has much longer anyways.
Okay, so with a snarky comment like that, why would he listen to you anyways?
You have a watermelon and a hammer and sickle in your username.
Yeah. Just remember that they tried to boycott the last Harry Potter game Hogwarts Legacy. I just referenced that in a video the other day. They tried to boycott Hogwarts Legacy, and it did buku bucks. It made a ton of money.
So that's not really a viable option for the JK Rowling haters anymore. They proved themselves incapable of handicapping her in the public eye. And she made tons of money off of that.
Aren't these people still trying to boycott Starbucks?
Yeah,
I feel like the Starbucks boycott is still going on.
They can't even stop themselves from getting Starbucks Frappuccinos when there's a genocide going on in Gaza.
They are downsizing at Starbucks. I saw they took 13 drinks off the menu, and
Which drinks?
I don't know.
Should I be worried?
You should be worried.
Oh no, I need to check on that. Lastly, an open letter to John Lithgow. Please walk away from Harry Potter. This was written by a fan of John Lithgow's named Danica Ellis for Book Riot. And I'm not going to read the entire thing, but here were some parts.
You think there's some points to be made here?
I think genuinely from the perspective of a trans advocate, you would be able to say that John Lithgow is a hypocrite for this. Okay. Not that I particularly care, but he is hypocritical, and I found out why from reading this letter. If I could tell my teenage self the news that you'd be playing Dumbledore in an upcoming TV adaptation of Harry Potter, she would be so excited. But when I heard the casting news in 2025, my stomach dropped. In your career, you have played memorable LGBTQ characters, and you've talked about being surrounded by LGBTQ friends and loved ones in your life. You were nominated for an Academy Award in 1982 for playing a trans character. This was Roberta Muldoon, a trans woman character in The World According to Garp. In this interview, John Lithgow said he decided to underplay everything and make her a perfectly normal person who feels more herself than she's ever been. Now, I thought that it was transphobic for a cis person, if you even accept such categorization, to play a trans character. But regardless,
that one is more of a discussion that, look,
in 1982, his heart was in the right place.
But the thing is, though, is now, you know how we joke about if you're talking about cancel culture, like you're just jumping on the bandwagon like 2 years too late, and it's not even really a discussion anymore. The same is true when you talk about like straight actors playing gay characters. Like nobody, like it's one of those things now where gay actors signal their neutrality by saying, I don't care who plays the gay character as long as the actor is good.
Right.
It's taking a stand without taking a stand because nobody cares anymore. The trans discussion about straight or I guess cis actors, that's their word, cis actors playing trans people, that is still very much a discussion.
Right.
That they like to have.
So I guess that was just glossed over here.
Yeah.
In 2014, you played a gay man in Love is Strange, and in interviews you talked about how many gay men felt inspired by your portrayal. You also mentioned you support LGBTQ rights, saying nobody in society should have to hide who they are or feel like they're second-class citizens in any way.
I wonder if serial killers felt seen when he played the Trinity Killer in Dexter.
I'm sure they felt inspired and seen, heard, and validated by that.
That would be my guess.
Recently, you were the eponymous character in Jimpa, a gay grandfather to a non-binary grandchild. The movie was directed by Sophie Hyde, and wait for it. This was inspired by the director's own life as the daughter of a gay father and the parent of a trans non-binary child. Hey, those things don't exist. Your child isn't non-binary or trans.
Well, that's one of the things that they...
You just have Munchausen's by proxy. In fact, her child, the non-binary grandchild in question, Aud Mason Hyde, starred alongside you as your character's grandchild and was involved in production. Sophie Hyde said the movie took on a new importance because of the recent increase in anti-trans vitriol. Throughout your career, you have demonstrated your love and acceptance of the LGBTQ community. Right now, trans people and trans young people especially are facing an attack on their rights and well-being. JK Rowling is one of the loudest voices leading the charge against them. They go through her track record. They're going through everything that she said about, trans identity and saying that children cannot identify as trans, etc. They also reiterated that she is very much involved in the production of HBO's Harry Potter series to confirm that she is, in fact, making a huge amount of money off of it in the long run. Thanks to JK Rowling's actions, Harry Potter as a franchise has become synonymous with transphobia.
I mean, I would like to know...
In the real world, that is completely untrue.
Yes. I mean, I don't even care what she thinks of casting someone like him who's taken those roles. I want to know what she feels about casting an American. That's what I want to hear. That's a more interesting discussion to me.
Well, I think that based on everything they laid out here in this letter, John Lithgow is a hypocrite for working with JK Rowling because, he wanted to chase the bag instead of standing by his principles, which he has been outspoken about for decades, and not just supporting gay people in the 80s like everyone else did, but supporting the existence of trans and non-binary children recently. That is something that he has recently made his, chosen pet issue to support. And, given that he's now working with JK Rowling, who has spoken out justifiably so against that type of abuse, he chose money over his principles.
I wonder if this is one of those situations where one of the things that happens all the time whenever an actor gets pulled, especially an older actor gets pulled into a superhero franchise, they say, my grandkids wanted me to do it. My kids said, you have to be in Iron Man. You have to be in this. You have to be in that. Was it William Hurt was saying that about being Thunderbolt Ross? I might be misremembering that. But a lot of
Didn't Jeff Bezos literally say that his son was excited about Rings of Power?
Wanting to buy Lord of the Rings. But the point is, maybe his grandkids or his kids were like, hey, I love Harry Potter. You should play Dumbledore.
Yeah.
That's me. I'm assuming he has kids. I have no idea.
That doesn't mean that it makes much sense for him to work with someone who allegedly, in his worldview, is a violent anti-trans bigot. Yeah. And that's not what I think about JK Rowling, but that's clearly what he thinks about JK Rowling and is willingly working with someone who he believes is an actual supervillain because he wanted a paycheck, and that's a valid point that they're making. That's why I'm writing to you today asking for you to walk away from your role in Harry Potter. Your name lends credence to the adaptation and by extension helps to grow JK Rowling's platform to further her crusade against trans people's rights. Stepping away would send a message to trans young people that they matter more than a fantasy franchise. It would align with the values you've shared throughout your career, both in interviews and in your performances. I hope you choose to stand with trans young people like Aud Mason Hyde. LGBT people and trans kids and teens in particular could use your support now more than ever.
Yeah.
and they're asking people to share this on social media so that John Lithgow will see it, as if that man even has a smartphone.
I mean, my guess is that his logic would be, look, they're not making a movie that is anti-trans. We're making a television series that just happens to be made by somebody who has made specific viewpoints known, specifically as relates to trans youth. As JK Rowling has said many times, that she doesn't really care if you're an adult. It's the stuff with kids that really bothers her.
Well, she does say other things about the behavior of trans identifying adults, but believes that they should be allowed to identify that way.
So, I mean, he's maybe taking the more nuanced approach here, but activists are not usually known for their nuance.
No, I mean, look, if you played a queer character in a movie that features a trans child, you're an ideologue on that specific issue. So, yeah,
he's like, but wizards.
This guy is deranged, clearly, and definitely is opposed to JK Rowling on this issue that clearly matters deeply to both of them.
The best thing that you could possibly do right now, guys, is try to get like a press pass when they start doing the screenings and see if you can catch photos of them together.
Yeah. Well, look, if you think that any of these people screeching online are going to be any more forgiving to the children who are cast in this series, you're wrong. I can see it already that those kids are going to be targeted not only online but also by journalists.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.